Dagger users just seem to be so difficult to use in Fire Emblem Heroes, but we should give it that good old college try, I guess? Greetings and salutations, my name is Deltrain, helping you build killer machines in Fire Emblem Heroes so you get the most out of the game. Talking about Dagger users, specifically some strategies for them, why we're in this weird spot with them, and then some good builds for them. Today, this video was released on September 26th, which is Batman Day, and that's why I decided to do this video. It is Batman Day, for those of you not in the know, because it is the anniversary of Bruce Wayne's parents' death in most continuities. It's we'll leave it at that. Any more explanation, and not only is that another video, but that is another channel. So we're gonna go ahead and pass that on, and I originally was not gonna do this video. I was debating whether or not there's any value to it, but here I am doing it. It's a little more conversational, a little more flighty than my typical videos are. I hope that this is okay with everybody. There is some great value here. We have 3 different builds that we're going to showcase, but we need to talk about rogues, which is what I usually end up calling Dagger users because it's one word instead of 2. So a Dagger user is synonymous with debuffing. If you take a look at all the units, I mean, you just look at a staff user and you're like, oh, it's a healer. If you take a look at a Dagger user, you're like, oh, it's a debuffer. The thing is that no other class other than healer has this distinction where you look at something as a whole and say, oh, this is its purpose. I mean, it's not like you look at a sword unit and you say, oh, the only thing a sword unit could do is stab something. I mean, you don't just have those broad sweeping things. You take a look at the stats, you take a look at the abilities, yet all Dagger users are put into this pigeonholed area, which is terrible because that basically means that the entire onus of whether or not a Dagger user is good is placed on the party itself. You're basically removing a unit from your group and saying, hey, instead of having a 4th member, randomly there's going to be debuffs going on here and there on the board, and I'm hoping my team will be able to make use of that. That's what's happening. If you take a look at a couple of units that act like debuffers that are in the game right now, you're going to see something really different. There's a Grand Hero Battle unit that will come out called Clarice. She has a wonderful bow, and there is a melee version of this that hits magic on female Corrin. I'm just Corrin for the rest of this video. Both of them have a wonderful debuff whenever they attack, giving everybody minus defense and resistance around the person that they hit. And the thing is that Clarice has enough strength that she's useful in other capacities other than simply to debuff. Same thing with Corrin. She's a wonderful tank. She could tank better than Naui in many situations, and she can stand and deliver, and she debuffs everybody, helps out the team. These units, and they have other builds that could go on top of them that let them get even more utility. You could switch out the breath weapon or the bow on them, and it completely removes the debuffing aspect from them, so that's one thing they've got going for them as well. They have so much that they could turn into and do. They don't have to only be a debuffer, yet Dagger users always seem to have to be a debuffer. That just is the role that they're thrown into. In PvP Arena, that's not something people look at because they want to just kill things. In PvE, it's very viable. I have used rogues very successfully in PvE many times. In PvP Arena, I don't bring in a rogue. I don't have a Kagero, so I never bring a rogue to PvP. And it's sort of sad because if you take a look at the stats of these guys, there's different things you can do with them that make them all very interesting. So let's go ahead and talk about somebody very specific here. We're going to go ahead and dive into Gaius. Gaius is actually rated one of the better PvP-enabled rogues, and we're going to see here what we do with him. I gave him Poison Dagger over top of his Rogue Dagger. We're going to talk more about the Rogue Dagger later on, but the Poison Dagger is nice. It's effective against infantry, still provides a debuff, and if you take a look down at his B slot, I have Water Sweep on him. Give him the Phantom Speed Seal if you have it. Give him Death Blow because he's not going to be worrying about receiving any type of retaliation, at least on the attack, and we have attack smoke there. This is a nice build. It doesn't look like it produces a lot. If he's plus attack, he's getting 24 kills. 1 loss, only 1 loss. That is very important. And 133. This is basically the only build that I could think of that is the quintessential Dagger user within Fire Emblem Heroes, the way that they state things, that still works the way that it does, because it debuffs the target, maybe it kills the target, you have attack smoke that debuffs everybody around the target, and your Dagger user is mostly safe, because anybody who attacks at a range is not going to get a retaliatory attack against you. That's not literally true, but for the most part, I mean, between his speed that he has, you don't even need plus speed. I prefer plus attack on this. I prefer plus attack on most of my rogues, honestly. But with water sweep there, that helps protect you. Yeah, that's an expensive skill. I'm not claiming any of these are cheap. However, I will say that this is a prime candidate to be a 4-star plus 10 unit. If you take a look down there, I have 34, 1, and 113 at 4-star plus 10. 10 kills better by being 4-star plus 10. Now that is with a Poison Dagger plus 10. He doesn't come with a Poison Dagger, so you would still have to inherit one on him. If you give him a normal Poison Dagger, his kills are roughly equal to what he was at before, but he's a lot more resilient. It's still worthwhile to do this. Remember, a plus 5 unit that is 4 stars is roughly equal, except for weapon, is roughly equal to a 5-star unit. You don't need a 5-star out of Gaius. If you want to go right ahead and do it, I'm not telling you not to. But all those Gaiuses you've been sending home because you don't feel like collecting Poison Strike or some garbage like that, just upgrade them. Make yourself a 4-star plus 10 Gaius. Keep him around. Go ahead and put Fury on him if you don't want to put a death blow on him. Go ahead and just give him a normal Poison Dagger. And of course, attack smoke is really expensive. Yes, you could just do a threatened defense, threatened attack, whatever works well for your team. I wouldn't recommend a ploy necessarily, but anything that fits with your team is fine. I do recommend attack smoke, and I mean, if we're already throwing frickin' water sweep and Poison Dagger on this build, I'm not going to skip attack smoke. As far as his DPT, I'm not going to actually show you the obituaries for it. 6 and 4, not great. Whenever he gets attacked, 1 and 18, that's atrocious. But whenever you have a 4-star plus 10 with those same stats, it's actually a noticeably better DPT. He lives a lot more. He gets a couple more kills. Not too many things will kill him on initiation. It turns him into a viable debuffer that is useful, that can help you in many situations. I think that this is an underserved niche, and even though he doesn't have wonderful kill stats, I think this is a build that you could take into PvP Arena. Let's switch gears into something that a lot of people already take to PvP Arena. Kagero, keeping her Poison Dagger on her, giving her Moonbow. For the most part, she doesn't get Moonbow off on the first attack. I give her Life and Death and Lancebreaker. Both of these skills are going to just escalate how much damage she does on the battlefield. Lancebreaker is there because blue is one of the most popular colors brought into Arena. I'm sure Reinhardt is inflating that statistic. However, when it comes down to it, if you're just trying to play numbers, you want to have Lancebreaker. It's going to help you out a lot. Life and Death, this build is not meant to take a hit, so why worry about it? Instead, just go full on out and make sure that you can hit the most people as aggressively as possible. Once again, attack smoke is here because that's a wonderful debuff. If whoever you hit doesn't die, and as long as they don't kill you back, you're going to debuff everybody around them and hit them with that defense and resistance debuff as well. 98 and 7 vanilla. If it's plus attack, 118 and 6. This is also another decent candidate, though, to make a 4-star merged unit out of it. But you really should have that Poison Dagger. If you have plus 10 4-star, you're really not looking at any more kills than the 5-star variant. But once you get Poison Dagger plus on that 4-star plus 10 Kagero, you get a good handful more kills because of it. Let's take a look at that DPT, and I actually have obituaries for this. 15 and 7 on initiation. That's wonderful. That's what we've been looking at for other units that are a serious threat in PvP. Take a look at that win list down there. I mean, it's all infantry. Surprise, except there's Reinhardt. Oh, and you also get rid of Tana, which is wonderful. I hate Tana. She's so hard to kill with many builds. So this is wonderful that you can eliminate her. As far as people we lose to, yeah, there's a lot there that's not good that we're losing to. We can't take on anybody who has distant counter. We can't take on that many other people that are really wrecking us there. And then, of course, as far as everything else goes, there's some people we draw to. 1 in 27, I won't show you the obituaries for being initiated on. It's sort of embarrassing. Only one person doesn't kill us, and the wet noodle there is Celica. She doesn't kill us if she initiates on us. She obviously needs to take a page from the news book and try her best. This last build that I have for you is Matthew. Everybody gets a Matthew whenever they first start the game. I have wanted to make Matthew into something good, and this one's sort of strange. I have Ignis on here. That takes a while to charge up. Once Ignis gets going, you can actually really deal damage to somebody, but I have Defense 3 on there. You need to have good defense, and honestly, a defense plus boon is what you probably want on something like this. Guard is here because I don't know if you noticed from those kills, 0 and 3 and 169, or 0, 5 and 167 if you let someone come to you. What the idea here is that you are really keeping that rogue dagger, because whenever you debuff somebody with a rogue dagger, you get a buff as well. So the idea here is that Matthew's your wall. Matthew is a nice substitute wall. He dies to Kagero, to Lind, Leo, Reinhardt, Tharia, whenever, and on defense he will also lose to those mages and to anybody who double taps, basically. So brave weapons, which are rampant, but not as much anymore in at least the current meta as of recording, so just be mindful of that. He can also take on some double tappers. It depends on how they're built and how some of the other builds shake out. When it comes down to it, Matthew's a wonderful defensive unit, and after a while he'll be able to have the Ignis to go ahead and just break things. Speaking of putting skills on people that are expensive to get, Guard 3, Guard in any variety as of recording is only available on 5-star units. I hope that changes. I hope that changes by the time this video is in the public. That would be wonderful. But if not, yes, that is a little expensive, but the idea with Guard here is that if you have a unit that's not going to kill you, but is just meant to stop you, you accidentally run risk of just charging that other person's special, and then you're screwed. So this is here to prevent that from happening. So 3 different builds for 3 different rogues. Hopefully this will help you guys out. Happy Batman Day if it's still the 26th. If it's not, keep this video in mind. Share it with your friends if they like Batman, even if it's not Batman Day anymore. And hey, do me a favor, if you like your Fire Emblem information hot and fresh like Grandma's cookies, hit that subscribe button. My name is Deltran. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate all of you. And until next time, take it easy.